So we reviewed a couple of Marshall products on our channel. We reviewed the Marshall Monitor 2 ANC, we reviewed the Marshall UX Bridge, and they've never disappointed. So this is the Marshall Major 4, alright? So these are what you would call on-ear headphones, so they kind of sit on your ear. The ones that sort of wrap around, those are called over-the-ear headphones. Now in the box you get the headphones, of course, you get your usual legal documentation, you get a 3.5mm audio cable, which we'll talk about later on, and you also get a Type-C cable for charging. Now the Marshall Major 4 support Bluetooth 5.0, which is great. There is no mention of multi-device pairing, and I tried it out, it didn't really work. But one thing you do get is 40mm drivers crammed into these headphones, and I don't know how they did that. And I did mention earlier that it has a Type-C cable for charging, but you can actually wireless charge with this, although you can only wireless charge on the right ear cup. Now in terms of design, well, what can I say? Every single product that I've reviewed from Marshall, they have always nailed it in terms of design, and this is no different. It looks beautiful, very reminiscent of the designs that you get from Marshall guitar amps. I will say though, I'm a little surprised that it didn't have that cabinet texture on this side as well. This is actually smooth. I think the reason why they couldn't is because if they did, it might not be able to wireless charge. I'm not sure, I'm just guessing. But I think it would have been nice to have that same sort of texture on the side as well. But then again, that's a personal preference. It might differ. Some of you guys might like this. But my favorite feature of these headphones is this, the controls. Now, when I reviewed the Marshall Monitor 2 ANC, it also had this sort of like control knob for your controls of the headphones. Now at first it looked a bit out of place and it looked like, you know, it would stick out and it might get damaged, but it didn't on the Monitor 2 ANC, and that very quickly became my favorite way of controlling headphones. So I'm really glad that it's here as well. Now I do understand that with this kind of controls, you either love it or hate it. I absolutely love it. I think it's very intuitive. You put it on, immediately you know how the controls work. If you ever use a joystick, you would immediately get, and I didn't have to read any of the instructions. When I put it on, immediately I knew what everything does. Alright, so this is a test recording of the Marshall Major 4. This is with the mask on, right? Testing 1, 2, 3. This is a test recording of the Marshall Major 4 with the mask off, alright? The mask is off. Testing 1, 2, 3. Alright, now you heard a very quick recording testing out the microphone on the Marshall Major 4s. Now I would say it's not its strongest point. In terms of the mic quality, it did sound okay. But in terms of the cancelling of the background noise, it didn't do as good a job. Alright, and talking about the most important thing about the Marshall Major 4s is the audio quality. And now, just like the controls in a way, it sort of doesn't appeal to everyone, in my opinion. Now for me, I think it's brilliant. I think for an on-ear headphones, it's probably one of the best, if not the best. It sounds fantastic, and I think a big part of it is the 40mm driver, but I think another big part of it is also because of the way it's tuned. Now if you've used a Marshall amp before, you would sort of see the kind of same similarities in terms of how it's tuned. Now it has very good bass, it has really good clarity as well. I do feel like there's a bit of a dip between like the 1 kHz maybe, or between 500 and 1 kHz, but there is a definite boost between 2 and 4 kHz maybe. It's a lot brighter. Now what I personally think is that this was tuned to make any guitar in any song become foreground, alright? Now if you listen to a lot of rock, like maybe if you listen to like Fall Out Boys, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Muse, this kind of music, maybe even My Chemical Romance, you sort of get the picture here. Now if you listen to any of those kinds of music, I can't think of a better pair of earphones where this makes those songs sound better. Every guitar immediately sounds a lot more foreground. It really takes over the entire song, and again, you either love it or you hate it. For me, I think it really makes a lot of those songs sound really nice. Yeah, so I think that's how it's tuned, because if you were to listen to something else, like maybe hip hop or something else, I listened to a couple, and to me it didn't sound as good. The whole mix sounded a bit off, because you know, when you come with hip hop and all that, you get a lot of bass, you get a lot of higher frequencies, but having that much sort of that bright range at 4 or 5 kHz maybe, it made the song sound a little bit weird. Now one feature of the Marshall Major 4 which I find particularly amazing is the battery life. Now I've been testing this headphones out for about 3 weeks now, and it still hasn't died. And here's the thing, when I took it out of the box, I didn't charge it, alright? So I don't know what the percentage was when I took it out of the box, but 3 weeks later it still hasn't died. Now Marshall boasts 80 hours battery life on the headphones, and that's mind-boggling. And again, these are not over-the-ear headphones, these are on-ear headphones, so they're not the biggest. And if by some sheer luck you forget to charge it, and then you realize that it dies on the way while you're traveling. Now, like I said, it gives you a 3.5mm audio cable. Now, you can actually use that and plug that into your phone if you have an audio jack on your phone, and you can listen to it like a normal wired pair of headphones. Now, not only that, alright, you can actually use the headphone jack here, and you can plug in another pair of headphones, alright? So, just think of this scenario: if you're on the bus or you're traveling and you're with someone and you both want to listen to the same music, or you both want to watch something together, you can plug the other headphones into this and you can both hear it. So, which is actually pretty cool. Now, I wasn't able to test like how powerful it's able to send audio to another pair of headphones because I don't have another wired pair of headphones to test out. But I think it's a really cool feature to have. I'm not sure how they came up with that idea. I don't think anyone's complained about it. But again, I think it's a really brilliant idea. Alright, so let's talk about the price of the Marshall Major 4. So these come in at about 269 Singapore dollars, or about 170 US dollars. Now, I think at that price, it's a little bit tricky right now in terms of whether I would recommend it. Now, at $269, it is missing quite a few features that you get on others at around the same price. Now, first of all, you don't get a pouch like you do on a lot of others, but you don't get any other extra features. You don't get any AI assistant, so no Google, no Alexa, no Siri. Now, you also can't pair it to multiple devices. Something like, like the Jabra Elite 45H, you can pair up to 8, and that's half the price of this. This one I tried and I wasn't able to. Now, the other thing is the fact that you don't get any app integration. Now, with the Marshall Monitor 2 ANC, you do have the Marshall app that you can download. But with this, you don't get any app that would. The same Marshall app is not going to work with this. So that means that you can't adjust an EQ. You can't see the battery life of it. And okay, by the way, this does not have ANC. But yeah, of course, you can't adjust the ANC. But not only that, you can't like update the firmware if there was any need to update the firmware. Now, I think one of the reasons why they didn't bother to add any app integration is because, well, it doesn't really do anything else other than being a headset. But I think at this price, they should have at least given you the option, to update the firmware if needed. They should have given you the option to EQ it if you wanted. And of course, things like seeing the battery life, which is really, really important. Now, is that a hard no from me for this pair of headphones? Now, not exactly. Now, there are quite a lot of people that have sort of like different priorities. Not everyone cares about all those other features on their headphones. They don't need any AI integration. They don't need to adjust the EQ or anything like that. Now, for those people that just want a really good pair of headphones, or at least a really good pair of on-ear headphones, this might be the best sounding on-ear headphones on the market today. Alright, so that about wraps up my review of the Marshall Major 4s. Now, if you like this video, you know what to do, and I would love it if you would subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications on our next video. I'm JP. I'll see you real soon.